Prince Harry's name is blowing up again, but not because of any royal heroics. The latest whispers coming from behind those Montecito gates are wild and straight up disturbing. Insiders are buzzing that something real dark just happened, and the palace, dead silent, like they don't want the world to know. But the details leaking out? Straight jaw-droppers. Word is, Harry was found unconscious at his California mansion. And no, this wasn't just him fainting from heat. People close to the situation are pointing fingers at serious drug use. But that's not even the worst part. Meghan? She wasn't by his side. Nah. She allegedly dipped out and was seen living it up with her close crew at some exclusive members-only club while Harry was being rushed to the hospital. What? Who does that? And now comes the real twist. The person who found Harry laid out, none other than David, his longtime bodyguard. But this guy ain't just some random dude with shades and a walkie-talkie. David's an ex-Scotland Yard legend decorated by the late Queen herself, and he's been watching Harry's back since the early 2000s. That man is trained to keep Harry alive. And this time, it sounds like he literally saved him. Now let's be real, Harry's name being dragged into drug rumors ain't new. Folks been talking about that since forever. But this feels next level. It's not just gossip, it's chaos with a royal crown on top. And this is just the beginning. Smash that subscribe button right now and stay locked in with Fame Feast, where the truth don't sleep. This wasn't some wild party gone wrong or a fuzzy Vegas flashback. Nah, this was serious. Word is, Harry was found fully unconscious and had to be rushed to a California hospital in an emergency sprint. Sources say he was in recovery for hours before they could even stabilize him. And guess what? The people who should have been at his side, nowhere to be found. Meghan? Allegedly gone in a flash, reportedly trying to craft an alibi. That's not just gossip either. People say she was spotted at a high-end private club that same night, laughing it up like everything was sunshine and roses. But this whole thing ain't just about one bad night. It's about a long, dark spiral that's been going on for years. And the scary part, the people who could have helped didn't. Even royal insiders knew. Biographers like Penny Junor, who's been chronicling the royals for decades, hinted that Harry's troubles with substances go way back, way before Meghan ever entered the scene. Let's rewind to the early 2000s. That's when the whispers started. Harry experimenting with weed and booze. But this wasn't just teenage rebellion, it snowballed fast. Insiders claim things escalated into way more dangerous territory. We're talking hard substances, blackouts, and full-on panic mode behind palace doors. But instead of real consequences, Prince Charles reportedly built a whole private nightclub inside Highgrove just to contain the madness. A literal VIP nightclub inside the royal estate, like that was gonna fix anything. And now, stories from back in 2007 are starting to resurface, ones that most folks wouldn't even believe. One of the wildest claims? That Harry was snorting vodka. Yeah, snorting it, not drinking it. Who even comes up with that? And this isn't some college prank gone too far. Medical experts have confirmed that doing that shoots alcohol straight to the brain, skipping the liver, and could trigger death in seconds. This is deeper than royal drama. This is straight up dangerous. For more insane stories just like this, don't forget to subscribe to Fame Feast, where the real stories always come out. And yet, back when this was all first unraveling, the media barely touched it. Crazy, right? Only a few dared to speak up, like News of the World. But that paper got shut down over a whole other scandal. And after that, silence. Total blackout. But while everything behind the scenes was heating up, Meghan's name kept sliding into the mix, and not in a good way. Whispers say Meghan's been fully aware of Harry's struggles, and some sources go even further. They claim she's not just aware, but enabling it. Yeah, allegedly she uses drugs as a way to keep control over Harry, keeping him foggy, dependent, and easy to manage while she takes charge of the whole narrative. It's a cold, calculated accusation, and it's got folks shook, but it's not popping out of thin air. Meghan's past is adding fuel to the fire. Before the fancy titles and royal wave, Meghan already had a certain reputation in Hollywood, and it wasn't for winning awards. People who went to her first wedding in Jamaica still whisper about the party favors. And no, we're not talking candles or thank you notes. Rumor has it guests got gift bags with pre-rolled joints, hand-prepped by Meghan herself. Some folks didn't even realize what they had until they landed back in the US, which could have landed them in serious legal heat. That wild little stunt paints a whole different picture of Meghan, one where she's far from innocent when it comes to the party scene. And it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about Doria, Meghan's mom. According to insiders, Doria's got her own history with the darker corners of California's scene and allegedly still has deep ties to some shady circles. True or not, here's the scary part. The story being whispered behind closed doors is that the Markle women know exactly where to get what they want and how to keep people in check. And when you start looking at what folks are saying about Meghan's grip on Harry, it starts to look a whole lot darker than just putting up with his habits. The whispers go deeper, way deeper. It's not just that Meghan allegedly turns a blind eye, it's that she uses Harry's habits like a leash, a way to keep him quiet, compliant, and emotionally wrecked. But here's the real bombshell. It's not just about Meghan. What's truly shocking is how many people around Harry have known about this for years and kept their mouths shut. From palace staff to seasoned royal reporters, everyone seems to have their own behind-the-scenes story about Harry spiraling out. We're talking drug-fueled meltdowns, angry blow-ups, and emotional breakdowns that never made it to the front page. And whenever a story got close to leaking, poof, it disappeared like magic. That's when the royal PR machine would swoop in with a charity appearance or a polished military moment, and by Monday, Harry's image was squeaky clean again. But here's the part that really hits hard. There's a real case buried in old tabloid scraps. It says Harry allegedly inhaled an entire canister of laughing gas inside a hospital. We're not talking about party balloons. This is medical grade, doctor-only stuff. So how did Harry even get it? And more importantly, why was it brushed off like nothing happened? No one in the media dares ask those questions out loud, maybe because they already know the truth and don't want to deal with the royal fallout. And don't forget his military days. Yeah, he wore the uniform, but behind closed doors, rumors say drug tests were mysteriously skipped or even faked. One former palace insider dropped a wild claim that the second a surprise test was announced, Harry was instantly flown off the base. Just like that. The cover-ups, the silence. It's like everyone's protecting a house of cards that's one bad night from collapsing. If you're hooked, don't stop now. Subscribe to Fame Feast, where secrets don't stay buried. One insider dropped a serious bomb. There was an incident involving both cocaine and vodka back in the day, but just like every other time, the palace swooped in to cover it up. No accountability, no fallout. Just another scandal swept under the velvet rug. Now fast forward to today, and what do we see? A man slipping deeper into addiction while everyone around him pretends like nothing's wrong. Meghan, allegedly out here building airtight alibis while the palace goes into full lockdown mode, but stays completely silent unless it's some puff-piece charity story. Meanwhile, the only person who's been solid through all this madness is David laying down. That man has stuck by Harry's side through every wild chapter, from the infamous Vegas nights to the mess in Montecito. He's seen it all. And now, he's the one who picked up the phone and got Harry the help he needed. But here's the harsh truth. Even with David stepping in, the damage might already be done. This ain't some random overdose or one-night mistake. This is a pattern, a full-on slow-motion crash. And the worst part? Everyone around him is guilty in some way, from the ones enabling him to the ones pretending not to see. They all played a part. There's a reason the palace is nervous. When a royal goes rogue, it's more than just a PR nightmare. It's a legacy on the line. Harry's not just some prince who took a few wrong turns. He was born into royalty, shielded from consequences for years. And now he's staring down something way more dangerous than a bad headline. If even half of these reports are legit, we're not watching a rebellious phase. We're watching a royal unravel. Don't miss what's coming next. Hit that subscribe on Fame Feast, where the real story never stays hidden. What we're watching isn't just a rough patch, it's a man swallowed by years of buried trauma, unchecked freedom, and straight-up manipulation. And now, it's gotten so bad even the palace can't pretend it's not happening. Insiders say King Charles himself was alerted the moment Harry was admitted to the hospital. No public statement, no press release, but behind the scenes, phones in London were blowing up all night. But here's the kicker. They weren't scrambling to help Harry. They were scrambling to contain the story, because if this explodes, it won't just damage Harry's name, it could rip apart the carefully crafted royal image they've spent decades building. This isn't just family drama, it's a potential implosion of the monarchy's clean-cut narrative. And all eyes? They're locked on Meghan now. If the rumors are true and she really left the scene the night Harry was found unconscious, then the palace won't be so forgiving. Her vanishing act is being called out for what it looks like. Cold, calculated, and intentional. The word circling inside royal circles? Alibi. She didn't run because she panicked. She allegedly ran so she'd be seen somewhere else to throw off suspicion. And now that Harry's name is tangled in headlines about addiction, hospitals, and emergency calls, the optics are disastrous. The whispers inside the palace walls have shifted. Where once Harry was the one causing concern, now Meghan is being talked about as the real problem. Her past, her connections, her influence, it's all being re-examined under a harsher light. This ain't just tabloid gossip anymore. Senior figures are reportedly combing through the last 5 years looking for patterns, looking for the signs they ignore. And here's where things get even more twisted. Behind palace walls, damage control has gone into overdrive. Insiders say secret meetings have already kicked off between senior aides and royal crisis managers. Not to help Harry heal, but to prep for fallout. They're digging into who knew what and when. Because if Meghan really walked out that night while Harry was crashing, that's not just bad press, it's a betrayal that could shatter the whole royal storyline. Sources claim private investigators are now being tapped to trace Meghan's steps that night, who she was with, where she went, how long she stayed. The palace needs proof, and they're not taking chances. Some insiders are even floating the idea of using this scandal to publicly distance the firm from Meghan for good. There's talk of quiet legal reviews, non-disclosure agreements, financial arrangements, even custody concerns. One aide reportedly said they're checking if there's a clean exit plan just in case. That's the level of panic happening behind those golden gates right now. And the public, they're not buying the usual PR fluff. Social media is blowing up with questions. Where's Meghan? Why hasn't she spoken out? Why hasn't Harry? The silence is getting louder by the hour. This isn't just about addiction anymore. It's about influence, control, and the ugly truths the royal machine never wanted the world to see. Meghan's role isn't being brushed aside, it's being investigated. And what they find next could rewrite everything we thought we knew. Now the pressure is boiling, and something's gotta give. The palace is running out of time, and Meghan, she's running out of cover. Rumors are swirling that certain royals are pushing for a full internal probe, not just into Harry's collapse, but into Meghan's entire influence over his life since day one. Some insiders claim there's talk of removing her from the narrative completely. That means erasing ties, severing deals, and cutting off access. Harsh? Maybe. But with Harry's reputation hanging by a thread and the monarchy's image teetering, drastic moves are on the table. One royal source allegedly said, "She's become a liability we can't afford." And here's the wildest part. There's chatter that Meghan might have known this was coming. Some believe that's why she's been laying low and working behind the scenes. Whispers say she's been calling up former allies in Hollywood and trying to rebuild her old network just in case everything comes crashing down. Meanwhile, Harry is said to be in a guarded facility, completely cut off from outside contact except for a very small circle. Even family access is being tightly managed. That's how serious things are. They're treating this like a full-scale royal emergency, because it is. Everything they've tried to bury for years is crawling back to the surface, and Meghan's silence, it's starting to look louder than any statement she could make. Is this the final chapter of the royal fairy tale, or just the moment the truth finally breaks free? Now the real questions are starting to shake the palace walls. Just how deep does Meghan's involvement go? Did she actually supply the drugs? Did she intentionally cut Harry off from his family? Did she build a world around him that kept him dependent, isolated, and easy to control? And then there's Doria, always in the background, rarely seen, barely heard, but insiders are now saying she's not as passive as she seems. According to whispers inside the palace, Doria allegedly plays a much bigger role in Meghan's day-to-day moves than anyone thought. If drugs were part of Harry's downward spiral, some are even speculating that Doria may have helped provide access. Nothing's confirmed, but the fact that royal aides are even asking these kinds of questions says it all. This situation isn't just scandalous, it's explosive. Behind closed doors, royal lawyers aren't prepping for a quiet divorce, they're preparing for full-blown public fallout. If Harry doesn't recover completely, or worse, if he decides to speak out about what really went down, everything could blow up. And if Meghan's tied to any part of that collapse, the palace won't protect her. Not this time. She's out of favors. But beneath all the drama, one thing cuts through the noise like a blade. Harry is not okay. Whether it started with buried childhood trauma, years of feeling like despair, or the heartbreak of adulthood, this man has been drowning. His pain became a product, a documentary, a memoir, a million headlines. But beyond the cameras and crowns, the glitter and gossip, he's still just a broken man who never truly got the help he needed. And maybe that's the most haunting part of all. Because Harry wasn't just a rebel prince. He was a wounded soul born into a world that chose image over healing. And now that choice is coming back to destroy everything they tried to protect. Stay locked in. Subscribe to Fame Feast, where the truth always breaks through the fairy tale.